Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to Star Wars Real Talk. Today I'm going to be talking about the destruction of the Skywalkers. Now, the whole sequel trilogy tries to do this thing where they're ending the Skywalker story. They're ending the saga, as they like to say, and a lot of the Star Wars community is really not happy with it because they ended something that didn't need to be ended. They ended up digging up people from the past and just totally butchering characters. I'll get into more specifics now. So, who is the chosen one? This is now an argument that I'm beginning to see online within the Star Wars community, because as the sequels now show it, Rey is a Skywalker, and now they're saying she's the chosen one because she ended Darth Sidious's life. And originally, Anakin was the chosen one, and in my opinion, he still is the chosen one. There's some debate as to whether or not Luke was the chosen one, but well, let's talk about the prophecy specifically so we can see who was the chosen one, who fits the mold. I mean, basically, the prophecy is very simple. It's just that the chosen one will bring balance to the Force by destroying the Sith. And this is something that the Jedi Council believed was Anakin from his early ages when Qui-Gon Jinn discovered just how powerful he was and really just realized the potential that was there. So he was groomed from a young age to be this chosen one and to fulfill this prophecy. And when he fell to the dark side, Luke's job, he wasn't the chosen one because he was able to defeat Vader in combat, because he wasn't even the one. He didn't necessarily beat Vader or Palpatine. He more fulfilled his role as a catalyst in redeeming Anakin by seeing that there was still good in him. That was more Luke's role in the whole thing. He played a major part in Anakin's story, but he wasn't the chosen one. In the end, Anakin remained the chosen one because he defeated the last remaining Sith. He defeated Vader and he defeated Darth Sidious. And this wrapped up the story quite nicely because, as George Lucas says, Star Wars is Anakin's story. So to say that Star Wars is anything more than Anakin's story is it's just not true. And there's a lot of people that talk about how they're sick of the Skywalkers. And I remember when Episode 7 came out and it was all about Rey. People were like, thank goodness this isn't about the Skywalkers. We're so sick of hearing about the Skywalkers. And then in the end, Rey takes the name of Skywalker. So it's kind of ironic. But now they're saying that Rey is the chosen one because she ends up defeating Sidious. And honestly, the whole sequel trilogy, it kind of breaks the Star Wars universe a little bit. I'm not going to get into all the different specifics because I just wanted to talk about the Skywalker name itself. And when she defeated Sidious, a lot of people thought that it undid Anakin's, it undid his redemption, it undid his whole story when he brought balance to the Force. And it did, in a way. They brought Sidious back. I mean, they had to justify it by saying he was a clone or whatever. And I've heard, the Star Wars Theory YouTube channel explained how the physical body of Palpatine was destroyed when he fell down that shaft, when Vader tossed him down there. And the one in the sequel trilogy is a clone, so it wasn't the real one. So in a way, this kind of preserves Anakin's sacrifice. But that's kind of a cheap cop-out. If you have to say, oh, it doesn't count, he was a clone, that's kind of shitty. I mean, that's the justifications that the sequel trilogy have had to make via, I don't know, the books that they put out. They've had to backtrack so much and try and save their asses in so many different ways that you just stop believing it. If someone screws up something so badly and then they explain themselves, it doesn't change the fact that they screwed something up so badly, right? They did break the universe, and it's so hard to think about now because I have these sacred memories and these treasured thoughts and feelings about Star Wars, and then I can't help but think about what, Rey's involvement in the whole thing. It just kind of muddies it all up. And she can't just claim the name Skywalker. She can't just want to have that name, and she has it. It just totally tarnishes everything. I mean, not even getting into how broken her character is itself. If she was a Palpatine, it would have been far more interesting if she had just ended the movie as a Palpatine and And hey, maybe she redeems the Palpatine name. Like, would that be so bad if she defeated the evil Palpatine and became a good one? Because Palpatine's always been this evil name in the universe. Would that have been so bad? It already explained why she was so powerful. Now she has to be a Skywalker too. Yeah, it's really not good. The whole thing with Luke on that island, and they completely destroyed Luke's character, and Mark Hamill was not quiet about it. He made a lot of noise about how pissed off he was that they destroyed Luke, and throughout the movie he's trying to tell Rian Johnson, hey, this isn't Luke, and they had strong disagreements is what he said. But I bet there was full-fledged arguing going on. Like, Mark Hamill probably wouldn't have taken this sitting down. I mean, it's just a movie, but still, Mark Hamill talked about how that character kind of embodied who he was for the rest of his life. He's kind of, yeah, he's been Mark Hamill, but he's lived his life also as this Luke Skywalker character, the hero archetype of generations. And that was kind of, it was screwed up in the sequels. And while J.J. Abrams did a good job cleaning up a lot of the messes that Rian Johnson made, it does come across like a lot of fan service. Like, yeah, he's fixing it, but he shouldn't have had to. Like, the whole I couldn't enjoy episode 9 because the whole time I was watching him backtrack episode 8, which was, I mean, it was nice. It was nice seeing. It was kind of a middle finger to Rian Johnson after Rian Johnson gave a middle finger to the entire Star Wars fan base. But still, the whole movie was spent fixing mistakes instead of telling a new story. And not getting into my issues with episode 9. What they did do with Luke, they did good in episode 9. They kind of saved his character again. Like, his character shouldn't have needed to be saved because Luke was always this pure, good-hearted character. That's what made him so lovable. Through all the ups and the downs, he was so true to himself. Where he contrasted with Anakin. Anakin ended up falling to the dark side, but Luke never did. He had plenty of opportunities to, and he never did. He stayed true to himself. So to see the way that they treated his character is frustrating. So it just, in order to do Rey's story, they had to ruin Luke and they had to ruin Anakin just so that they could justify all the leaps that they were making. I don't care how many times the company throws at me that Rey is a Skywalker. I'll never accept it. It would have been far cooler if the story ended up being about Kylo, who actually has Skywalker blood in him. And, he reclaimed his name as a Skywalker. As, Ben Skywalker or something like that. But, yeah. They ended up making it about Rey. And Ben, or Kylo, just kind of got thrown aside. It didn't even really make sense. Like, he wasn't even like a major player like Luke was. He just kind of, Leia somehow convinces him to turn to the light side, and in that moment that Leia is saving Ben, Rey kills him. So I was shocked to even see that in the movie. It's like, I thought Rey was supposed to be the good person. Here's a defenseless man who just had a change of heart towards the good. Like, she's this powerful force wielder who can sense everything, but she doesn't sense that this shift in the balance of the force when Kylo changes over to the light side, and that's when she mercilessly murders him and then saves him after because she felt bad. It's super weird. And then in the end, they team up against Palpatine. Palpatine absorbs both of their powers. So Palpatine is supposed to be incredibly powerful. Now he has Rey and Kylo's power. But that doesn't make a difference because Rey is able to just defeat him herself with her 2 lightsabers, I guess. And Palpatine doesn't stop shooting lightning even though the lightning is literally killing himself. He just keeps shooting it at Rey. And Rey, without her strength and without Kylo's strength, defeats Palpatine. And this is supposed to be how the prophecy is fulfilled and how she completes Anakin's journey. And it's just brutal. It's just so riddled with plot holes. It's hard to watch. It's hard to think about. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but there was supposed to be a lot of Anakin in this movie. There was a lot of, they brought Hayden Christensen in and they did a lot of filming with him. And he was supposed to be a bigger part in this movie. There were scenes where I think Anakin was training Rey, and at the end, it was supposed to be Anakin putting his hand on Rey's shoulder or something like that, and then they defeat Palpatine together. I think that would have been fantastic. That would That scene alone would have probably redeemed the entire sequel trilogy to me, and they cut that out. And Kathleen Kennedy, I guess, just didn't want any Anakin in there because she wanted to make it all about Rey. So they just cut scenes, cut scenes, cut scenes. They cut everything that Hayden did in that movie down to one voice line, where he, at the end, when all those Jedi are talking to Rey and getting her to stand up, Anakin's got a little tiny line in there. And it was revealed that Hayden was really upset about this. Like, he was really pissed off. And he talked about how he was upset that he got cut from this movie. And I know George was super pissed about it too, and he ended up not going to the premiere of Episode 9. George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, did not go to the premiere of Episode 9 because he was so pissed that Anakin got cut from the movie. Anakin's his baby. The whole story is about Anakin. How can you not include him in Episode 9? And when the creator of Star Wars is so pissed off about it, he doesn't even go to the premiere. What does that tell you? The whole fan base just seems to be so divided, and Star Wars is supposed to be something that brings everyone together so they can forget about their lives for a little bit and just dive into this universe and love the characters. We're not supposed to argue about things and debate things and get pissed off at each other, and I don't know. It's just, the whole thing is so frustrating. I really wish there had been more Anakin in it in the sequel trilogy, because he's a fan favorite. When the prequels came out, everyone was kind of like, they ragged on him because of the writing. I mean, that's not any of the actors' faults. It was George's fault, because George didn't really know how to write romance, and the scenes ended up being kind of cheesy and cliche. But he ended up being a total fan favorite. Like, it wasn't his fault that he had to say cheesy lines in a cheesy moment. He still did a fantastic job displaying all the complexity of Anakin's character and his emotions and his mind. It was really well done. Both Anakin and Luke, they're just fantastically written characters. The first 6 movies is a beautiful story. That's why I think I'm so in love with Star Wars, and I keep coming back to it, because the storytelling. It's a story, right? It's supposed to be a story at the end of the day that you can just enjoy. And the sequels kind of took that away. They've made it kind of a pissing contest to see which director's best, and how Kathleen Kennedy can make political statements and push her agenda on the community and the world. It's kind of lost what the magic that it was. It's just a fantasy story about the Skywalkers. And I almost forgot to talk about Leia. Do we even want to talk about Episode 8 Leia, where she's a general on this ship that doesn't really do anything, and the reaches that were made to justify her flying through space? And then, Episode 9, obviously she passed, so they weren't able to do anything with Carrie Fisher and her character. But Episode 8, they could have done so much more with her before she passed. And that's obviously easy for me to say in hindsight, but I don't know. She was this fearless warrior when she was younger, and to see her older, and she didn't play a very vital role in Episode 8 or Episode 9 or Episode 7 for that matter. I feel like they just could have done more with her. She was never the one to just kind of stand in the background and silently sit there and listen. She was always taking charge, and that's kind of what they did with her character, which is disappointing. And in Episode 9, I don't really know why they tried to make it so that she was training to be a Jedi. It's kind of weird. I mean, hey, we all kind of wanted her to do that, but they wrapped that up real quick in like a 10-second CGI scene. They could have spent a third of the movie on this, or a larger part of the movie talking about Leia's training, but they just kind of threw that in there so quickly. It was hard to even keep up with it. And then she has a lightsaber. We haven't even seen her fight with it, and now she has a lightsaber, and at the end she's burying it next to Luke's, and it's like, are you kidding me? I just found out she's a Jedi, and now you're burying her lightsaber like it's some kind of relic. And she stopped training to be a Jedi because apparently she had a vision that if she continued to train to be a Jedi, that her son was going to die. So then she has Rey continue her journey. But that doesn't really make sense, because if she continued her journey, her son was going to die. So getting someone else to continue her journey still continues her journey. And then Rey continues her journey, and then her son still dies. It just, why did they try and do something with this when they just shouldn't have? It just didn't even make sense at all. And I don't know, man. I mean, they tried to give Rey a training scene with Leia. Leia's training her, even though we've never seen Leia fight except for that CGI scene. But in the start of the movie, Rey's freaking flying. She's literally levitating, which obviously creates a whole bunch of other plot holes and broken points for Episode 9. If she has the ability to freaking levitate, why does she try and brave an ocean in a boat? Why is she doing all these acrobatics to get around in the Death Star? I'm not going to get into it, but I don't know how Leia trained Rey to do any of these things. When Leia, she didn't even finish her journey. If they're going to make her a Jedi, sure, cool. Just do it better, Actually take the time to work it into the script without throwing it in there. Also, Leia became a Force ghost at the end of the movie. I understand Luke becoming a Force ghost because he's incredibly strong in the Force and very wise. Let's remember who has become Force ghosts to our knowledge. It started with Qui-Gon Jinn. He was the first to break the barrier on this. And then he taught Yoda. And then after Yoda was Obi-Wan. And these are all Jedi masters, okay? They're the best of the best. They're the leaders. At one point, a part of the Jedi Council. Well, Anakin wasn't, but obviously he's the chosen one. Like, he was able to transcend and become a Force ghost. But Leia, I don't understand when and where she would have been able to do this. Where did she get this training? Obi-Wan and even freaking Yoda had to be taught how to ascend into this other plane of becoming a Force ghost. Even Yoda had to be taught this, and it just happens with Leia at the end. I don't know. I think it's a reach. Like, they just tried to do so much with her character, and they just think we're not going to notice. But Star Wars fans are not stupid. We're going to notice this. What I'm trying to do is just not think about the sequels and just try and cherish and hold on to the beauty that is the first 6 movies and that story. And I don't even think I'm gonna buy any of the sequel movies to put on my shelf with my other Star Wars things. I think I'm just gonna hold on to the first 6 movies and cherish them for what they are. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. It was a bit of a negative one because this stuff kind of pisses me off, and that's kind of the reason why I made this channel, so I could talk a little bit unfiltered about my opinions on Star Wars, because I don't want to just bitch about Star Wars to my Star Wars friends, because I don't want to ruin Star Wars for everybody, right? I know there's a community out here that's upset, and they're looking for other venues to, listen and engage with like-minded fans. Thanks for watching. May the Force be with you.